You'll see I've logged into PowerChart and I have gone to patient lists, where I have a number of lists set up. In this case, I'm going to use my inpatient and day case list because it's got test patients in. As any of these lists can be viewed as the responsive work list. You might find the responsive work list already on your toolbar, depending on how your toolbar is set up. If not, then you can access it by clicking View and Responsive Work List from the drop-down menu. Now, when you first open it, it may not look exactly like this, but there are a maximum of 4 views available of this work list. If you see any less than this, simply select the plus icon and then select the views that you are missing. Ordinarily, we would be publishing 3 views: a doctor's handover view, a safety dashboard, and a responsive work list. But in response to the COVID pandemic, we have added a COVID work list view as well. The main ways in which the responsive work list differs from the standard doctor's work list is, as the name suggests, it's a bit more responsive. So you will notice that you are able to resize the width of the columns to suit your needs. You have the option to pin columns, so that even if you need to scroll to the right to reveal further columns, basic details such as the patient's name and location stay in view. You'll also notice that there are more rows available per patient. Now, all of these can be configured according to your needs by clicking here and selecting Layout Configuration. You get to choose which columns are pinned. So to pin another column, simply drag it up into the pin section, or to unpin it, drag it down again. For any columns that are not helpful for your particular workflow, these can be deselected. And the order of the columns can also be changed simply by dragging and dropping. By clicking on rows, you get to choose whether you want to see between 1 and 5 rows of information per patient. Once you're happy with the settings, click Apply, and you will see your list. Now, just to go through each list in a bit more detail, the doctor's handover view has been designed so that you have easy access to the information you're likely to need at handovers. So the patient's problem list, their diagnosis, their resuscitation status, a clinical summary. And this clinical summary is exactly the same as the clinical summary entered in the iPAS handover tool. In the responsive work list, iPAS can be accessed by clicking anywhere in the patient box where there is no text, like so. Here you see the patient summary, any actions, and situational awareness and planning, along with a quick guide to the latest clinical data, which you can chart if it's helpful, recent lab results, medication and fluid balance, and any care team lists that the patient may be on, for example, the medical take. So if I enter something in the patient summary, either in the iPass tool on the desktop or in the iPass tool in PowerChart Touch, and save it, when I close iPass and refresh, I see the comments face up in my work list. Plan pulls from situational awareness and planning in the same way. And labs, real patients, would give you the most recent lab results. You'll see there's also a column available for procedures this encounter, which we hope will be useful for the surgical teams in particular. Moving to the safety dashboard, this is giving me a ward level view of patients who have results to endorse. And by clicking here and here, I can actually go and endorse the results without needing to go into the patient's record. I can see outstanding medical tasks. So in this case, we have a VTE admission assessment, which is overdue, so in red. And in due course, a patient will be due for a reassessment. I can complete the assessments from the work list by clicking the task and then document. And the form will open. I can fill it in the usual way. You can also see if there have been any AKI alerts, whether the patient was or wasn't at risk of VTE once assessed, whether the patient was felt to have dementia, whether there are any pharmacy alerts, and whether there have been any alerts for sepsis. You can access the configuration of this list in the same way as the doctor's handover. All the other columns that were previously in the doctor's work list are now in the responsive work list. And if we look at the configuration for this, you'll see that you've got quite a lot of columns available, whether the patient's been clerked or post-taked, the predicted date of discharge, actions, which, like the doctor's handover, can be seen face up rather than just as a number in the current work lists. Again, you can choose which ones you want, in which order, which columns you want pinned. And you can also choose the number of rows. Any of your lists can be viewed in any of these views. And to switch between the lists, simply use the drop-down menu here. If you are opted into any care teams, for example the medical take list, then select care team list and you will see those. If you need to opt into any care team list, simply click on Manage Care Team Lists. Select the care team you wish to opt into. And save it. I now see that when I go to care team, the new care team list is available. Finally, the COVID worklist has been designed to give you rapid access to the patient's COVID-19 status. So it will tell you whether a TEP's been completed and what the ceiling of care is for the patient. As with the other work lists, simply clicking that cell brings up a little bit more detail, and I can open the form and modify it from here if I wish. You'll see the frailty score, and again in the same way, highlighting the cell gives me the opportunity to open and, if necessary, edit the form. One thing to note here with the new frailty score, if the patient is 6, i.e. moderately frail or higher, then frailty will automatically be added to the patient's chronic problem list. The This Visit Problems or Diagnosis pulls in automatically. The vital signs that are pertinent to the respiratory system pull in, and the results of any COVID test the patient has had in any encounter will be displayed here. And specific labs relevant to coronavirus will be seen here. So hopefully you will find this a more useful work list. If you have suggestions for further improvements or columns that would be useful, please don't hesitate to contact the eCARE team.